Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 164 of the Runnin the Paint podcast. I'm Miles here with Ben, Joey, and Nick. Guys, how are you doing today?
Feeling good, feeling great. Season is off to a wicked start.
Yep, ball is back. Ball is back indeed. Ben, what's up, man? How you doing?
Doing good and feeling good and it's just really good to see NBA ball back. I can't wait to get into all this good action with everybody.
Yeah, we have more games to get into today. We've already had a lot of crazy games, a lot of crazy individual performances. So I'm excited to get into it all. We're going to talk about a lot of teams, if not every team, at some point during this podcast. So let's start things off with Pirtle. I'm picking the player today. Normally, we don't have the best track record when I'm picking the first player, but I'm feeling good today. I'm going to go with the second leading scorer on our favorite team, the Cleveland Cavaliers, Sam Merrill, who's been off to an incredible start this season for the Cavs. So let's see what Money Merrill gets us. Oh, my goodness.
Oh wow.
We have ourselves Evan Mobley in two. Right?
Bang, bang. Yeah,
Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah.
there's a good start to the episode if I've ever seen one.
That may be the greatest start to a Pirtle in history. So let's get right in here to the podcast here. So today, since there's so much to talk about with all of these teams and players, we're just going to go around and, bring up a topic and then just go around the horn and talk about the things going on in the league. So, Nick, why don't you get us started here? What has stood out to you around the association 1 week in?
Well, yeah, I mean, to me, the first thing has been Victor Wembanyama, and just like how he kind of looks like the best player in the league through the first week. I would say it's just on another level that we really haven't seen anyone in the NBA ever in history do or be on this level. So that's interesting. But there's also been a lot of other stuff. 350 balls, including a big game last night from one Austin Reeves, who destroyed my first week fantasy attempts. And I'm off to an 0-1 start so far. But yeah, it was a very close game. And Austin Reeves torched Sabonis, DeRozan, and Levine. So
Don't remind
thanks.
me. Don't remind me.
Yeah, hey, Running the Paint fantasy update. What, 3 of the 4 of us are winless so far, and that's because Ben beat me. Then Joey and Nick both
Well,
lost.
it's a crowded league. There's 14 of us this year, so
Indeed, definitely a big competitive league. But yeah, I mean, Victor Wembanyama has been. I think that's the place we have to start, Ben. I mean, he's been absolutely unbelievable through 3 games. Now, of course, any stats we say, it's just 2 to 3 games that all these teams have played. But through 3 games, Ben, Wembanyama is averaging 33 points, 13 rebounds, 6 blocks a game, shooting 10 free throws per game, shooting 57% from the field in less than 33 minutes a game. For the undefeated Spurs, one of just 4 teams that are still without a loss, where do you even start with this guy, Ben? He's been unbelievable.
Yeah. He's just
Ben predicted it.
as you said, Miles. And so far for the first 3 games of my predictions on one have been fantastic. You guys were thinking that I was kind of crazy for having him second on MVP in that prediction video, but so far so good. Wemby, man, just looking dominant on both sides of the ball like I thought he could be, and he's just like carried the Spurs to a 3-0 record so far, even though they haven't played great teams so far. We'll have to see how they do against some of the better teams in the league when they play them coming up. But so far, I really like what they're doing to start. And also, Dylan Harper, Stephon Castle are off the good starts as their point guards too. They
Yes,
haven't really had De'Aaron Fox play yet. They'll get even better when Fox comes back.
True that.
Yeah, Joey, so far with the 3-0 Spurs, of course, we already know Victor Wembanyama is sensational. But what else has stood out to you about the way that the Spurs have started getting victories over that blowout victory over the Mavericks, overtime win in New Orleans, and then winning against the Brooklyn Nets in their home opener on Sunday?
Yeah, they're just looking kind of dominant. I saw mic'd up clip of Mitch Johnson in the huddle, and he said one of the quotes that came out is "embrace the boring." I'm like, it sounds exactly Popovich's teaching. Like that's just rubbing off out of him, the whole team. I think everyone's just following Wemby's lead. Everyone's looking really good. Ben, you are kind of a genius. I'll just say that. Yeah, your prediction was right on the money. I just thought the Spurs and Wemby was just one more year away from this massive of a breakout, but I'm buying all the hype on this team right now.
Wow, already buying it. We do have to say it is again. We're only a week into the season. It's only 2 to 3 games.
Two blocks and the 2 back-to-back blocks on the pull-up. I mean, that was incredible. Like,
this is what I've noticed about Victor Wembanyama. So he's taken a lot less threes this year. He only is taking 4 a game. But the only time that he takes like an off-the-dribble 3 are after he gets an insane block. That's his version of the FU3. He gets 1, 2 to 3 blocks, and then at the other end gets the rebound and just pulls up for 3 because there's nothing you can do about it. That is his version of a Steph Curry pull-up from 30 feet. LeBron shooting
when I saw it.
That is Victor Wembanyama's version of just a complete dagger that counts for more points. It feels like it counts for more points than just 2 on the board.
Absolutely right. It feels like it counts like more. Absolutely. I've said it before. Every time he takes a court, it's like you have a chance to see something you've never seen before. Well, that's pretty obvious, I guess, at this point, redundant, but I just thought I'd put it out there.
He's just a massive cheat code. Things he does are just things we haven't seen before at this type of an elite level.
Yeah, no question about it. So the Spurs definitely off to a hot start, and looking at their schedule, they're kind of set up to be to a very, very good start as well. So we might see some overreactions over the next few weeks because they don't play the most insane schedule. I mean, their next few games, they play the Raptors, the Heat, the Suns, the Lakers. Next Friday, they play the Houston Rockets in the NBA Cup. So that is the first real game where they're going to play a championship contending team, unless you count the Lakers. But then they play the Pelicans, the Bulls, the Warriors twice, the Kings, the Grizzlies, the Hawks, the Suns, the Blazers. It goes on and on. Like they have a pretty easy start relative to the fact that they don't really play a championship contending sort of schedule until we get into December. So they're going to have a chance to, if they are going to take that jump, Joey, that you're talking about, jumping up a whole lot of levels in the Western Conference, it's going to be due to the start that they get off to these first couple months, because they've got a lot of winnable games to start off the season, which will not be the case near the end of the season.
Man, I'm looking to try to find out when they play OKC, the only other undefeated team on that western side, and it's literally not until the 23rd and then Christmas Day. Literally the 2 days back to back in 2 days' time.
Well, Ben had them 5th in his Western Conference prediction, so
again,
if they get off to a good start.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed, off to a good start. We'll see if they can keep it up, though. I have a feeling. I mean, I'll be one of the people that like this. They're off to a great start. He's off to an incredible start. I expect him to keep this up. As far as like throwing them into contender status or anything like that, we still got a while to go until they're up to that level.
I'm waiting for that Trailblazers games. I want to see Hanson Yang put the stops on Victor Wembanyama.
Right. But yeah, so San Antonio 3-0 in the Western Conference, along with the Thunder, like you're talking about. OKC 3-0, getting those 2 double overtime victories against the Rockets and the Pacers that we talked about on the podcast. Then a Saturday victory in Atlanta against the Hawks, where they won by 17 points. And then in the East, the only 2 undefeated teams left, the 2-0 Bulls and the 76ers. Now, of course, we are recording this on Monday night with a lot of games here tonight where I think all these teams are in action, maybe besides the Spurs, if I'm not mistaken. Someone could fact check me.
Spurs are playing.
So all these teams are in action. So there might be a small chance that all these teams lose and we don't have an undefeated team anymore. But just a great start for those teams so far. Joey, of those other 3 teams, the Bulls, the Sixers, or the Thunder, is there anything that stood out to you so far?
Stands out to me that the Sixers are 2-0, and again, it's only 2 games. But Embiid has looked less than human. He doesn't look crazy MVP. At least I don't. Did the second game, because I don't know if I saw any highlights from that, but at least the first game, Embiid looked terrible.
So the deal with Embiid to start the
He hit a
season
bunch of
is
threes.
he's on a 20 minutes per game minutes restriction
Okay.
to start the season. So in the first game in Boston, yeah, he looked awful, 4 points in 20 minutes. Then in the win against the Hornets, had 20 in 20 minutes. So that's, you're getting that point per minute production. So, I think it'll take, it's going to be, kind of weird. We've seen some comments from Embiid about playing in those shorter stints / longer stints at different points. So we'll see how he plays once he starts to get ramped up. So far, we've had one really bad game and one pretty solid game. So we'll just wait to see how he does.
Yeah, even with that bad game, Edgecombe and Maxey have come to play to start the season. Like, even if Embiid's going to have a bad game, it looks like he's got the supporting cast to at least help him out and keep that team afloat if he does have a bad game. So that's very encouraging to see as a Sixers fan, I would think.
How many years do you guys think he has left?
Joel Embiid, how many years do I think of being, as far as what goes, being at like an all-star level or like being in the league? Like, what do you mean?
In the league.
Because there's a difference. Yeah, that's tricky.
What if it doesn't go well this year?
Well, I mean, he's under contract until 2029 with his player option, which means he's gonna make it that far at least, unless there's some crazy situation and the Sixers decide to stretch his contract. But until that goes, I mean, at the minimum, he's got 4 years remaining under contract after, including this year.
I was thinking literally 4 years. I'm like, as soon as his contract, I don't think a lot of people are going to touch him. I think it might be a very bad downfall. Right now, we're already getting like those 50-50 games. We don't know.
I'm saying he could like just hang it out before that.
I don't think that would happen. I mean, he's still like, he just had 20 in 20 minutes. Like he had
what you guys thought, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, he had the one.
That answers my question. So you're right. I think he could get back. I do think he could get back. I was just curious.
Yeah, for sure. Ben, let's go over to you. Where do you want to start? What's been standing out to you in the league so far?
I'm gonna give to. Let's see. I gotta pick somebody. Let's talk about the Cleveland Cavaliers, or Cleveland Cavaliers, I guess. And so far, the Cavs have gotten off to, I would say, I guess, a good start. When we were last on here, they just lost to the Knicks, but then they did a good job of bouncing back and beating Nets and the Bucks. But the Cavs, I mean, luckily held on against the Nets and the Bucks, even though the Nets and the Bucks makes a big run to try come back towards the end of those games. But wins are wins there, which are good for the Cavs. I think they'll hopefully figure it out. They play the Pistons tonight, and so far, we talked about Sam Merrill already in the Pirtle. Yeah, I've been really impressed with him. So far, that contract seems to be paying off to the Cavs game. He's shooting the free ball really well and plays a good defense times. I like what I'm seeing from Sam the Man, and helped to get Hunter back in the lineup against the Bucks. So we need a big wing out there, to fill that in. And Mitchell and Mobley doing their things. Mobley's, continues to be pretty aggressive, and Mitchell, scores well, does what he can to help the team out and win, leads really well. So overall, I'm happy about the Cavs so far, where they're at. And I understand, of course, they've banged up. And will get better later in the year. So, yeah.
Yeah, Joey, what are your early thoughts on our Cavaliers? Of course, they're 2-1. All three games have gone into clutch basketball at some point. Of course, pulling out 2 of the 3 victories. So, what have been some of your early takeaways from watching the Cavs?
Well, like Ben said, Sam Merrill's been worth the contract so far. He's coming out to play. I think there's still some things need to improve. Couple of those games, like even though we did win against the Bucks the other day. Mitchell, I remember at halftime only had like 8 points, kind of similar to that Knicks game where he just off to a slower start. It's fine getting everybody else involved and doing that. I just would like to see them more aggressive throughout the whole game. But outside of that, we're letting some of these teams that were getting out to 15-point leads, 15 to 20-point leads, and then all of a sudden it's a 5-point lead or it's tied, or then they take the lead right at the end of the game, and then we have to crawl back and like try to fend it off. Like I'd rather just like stay on the gas pedal. There's some things we need to still learn, but like Ben said, we're a little banged up right now. So I guess I'm not super worried about it yet. The wins are the most important thing.
Yeah, it's kind of a two-hand sort of thing with the Cavs so far to start this season because, I mean, you really think about it, although this is a similar-looking roster with some new role players that we could talk about, coming up here, this is really the first time where a lot of players are changing their roles or new types of players are on the roster in really a long time here. Of course, starting last year, there really weren't any new additions besides Ty Jerome coming off of his injury. He fit into the Cavs system. The year before, you bring in Max Strus and George Niang, who are perfect fits to the system just as spot-up guys. And then before that is the Donovan Mitchell's first season. Of course, that's the big piece you bring in. But since then, Evan Mobley is now, asked to be a different sort of player than he was, the last few years. So you have to adjust to that. You have, Lonzo Ball bringing in a different sort of backup point guard off the bench. Sam Merrill's now your starter. Jalen Tyson was starting with DeAndre Hunter out. Like, you have a lot of different players playing in different roles while also, again, trying to experiment with different lineups, different philosophies on the floor here while getting back into playing shape. So overall, I'm excited about the things I've been seeing. Like you guys said, Sam Merrill, I mean, he's second in the league right now and made threes behind Steph Curry. He's been incredible. He's averaging 19 points per game. And like Ben said, his defense has been very, very good. I really like him a lot as a player. But overall, I'm excited to see how this team grows again. For a lot of people, for most people, it's about what the Cavs do in the playoffs, not as much in the regular season. So it'd be very hypocritical if we got too worried about the Cavs during the regular season when they're experimenting, trying to do things that'll help them win in the playoffs.
Well, I can't say anything to that.
But Nick, what have been some of your thoughts on the new additions, like Lonzo Ball, Larry Nance Jr., that have gotten, their first minutes with this Cavalier team so far this season?
I think Larry's going to be huge because, we're going to need some extra big help and stuff. And then Lonzo, as well. Looks good. I like them both. But the real thing has been Money Merrill, like you guys said. And I don't know. You see Evan get it going even more, right? A little bit. So hopefully he continues to stay aggressive. And I guess it just starts to pay off a little bit more with the flow of everything going on because he has been aggressive. So I'm excited as well about the things I've seen, but I guess just haven't yet to see a complete package in a single game and through the first three. It's just been a little chopped up.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely hot and cold stretches for the Cavs so far this season, but still off to a 2-1 start. I'll go next here. Let's talk about all these crazy scoring outbursts. We've had 3 50-point games through 6 days of the season here. We had, of course, Shea with his 55. We had Austin Reeves, in the Lakers win against Sacramento with Luka Doncic and LeBron out of the lineup. And Aaron Gordon with the 10 threes on Thursday night while we were recording the podcast. It's been crazy, all these scoring outbursts. And then we had Luka with the 49 against Minnesota, missed the one free throw to get to 50 on Friday. But, Joey, what has been the most impressive individual performance so far this season from a scoring take?
I'm not going to pick Reeves because it came against my Sacramento Kings, and I saw that he made as many free throws as he had just field goal attempts in that game. So, in my opinion, it's a little Shea-esque. But Aaron Gordon
cost me week 1. It's ridiculous.
But Aaron Gordon, man, I don't know who would have guessed he would have just come out like shooting threes like that just to start the season. But if that's what we're getting this year out of Aaron Gordon and just the Nuggets team in general, like we are all pretty high on them, but like this team could go to the NBA Finals, and it's like a very, 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 very good chance if Aaron Gordon's gonna knock down 10 threes like every third game or so. That'd be crazy.
Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. But
I don't either. But
even if he is like I don't know what his can anybody check his percentage last year? Even if he does increase it by like 5%, that would be insane.
So throughout his first 10 years in the league, he was always between 27 to 34%. In the 23-24, he shot 29% from three. Last year, it jumped up to 43.5% from three, which is so good. That's so good. If he's he was a great 3-point shooter last year, and of course, in the playoffs, he hit the game winner against OKC from tons of clutch shots. If he's going to keep on shooting like this, it's going to be amazing for Denver. It just adds another threat on the floor offensively, because originally, I don't know if you guys have seen clips from season 2 of the Starting Five show on Netflix. But basically, after Game 1 of the Nuggets Thunder series last year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander FaceTimed Chris Paul, and Chris Paul was like, "Man, Aaron Gordon, I have so much respect for that guy, because it must have taken, he knows the hours of work it took to improve the shot, so he's shooting like that now. Because he used to be the guy that you're living with taking threes. Now you can't, and so now when you're playing the Denver Nuggets, you're not really comfortable with leaving any of those guys open on the perimeter besides maybe Christian Brown, but he's even improving. So the Nuggets are definitely looking scary if Aaron Gordon is going to play like an all-star.
Yeah.
That was one of my questions coming in that I was going to come to was their big three, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, and Joker, like being one of the best or going up head-to-head with Shea, Chet, and J-Dub, But AG, former second overall pick behind Kyrie, if I'm not mistaken.
No, where was he? 8th? I want to say the fourth pick.
Who's behind Kyrie that I'm thinking of?
Who went 8? Derek Williams went second behind you know what? Just thought of that. Aaron Gordon is who Derek Williams should have been.
Okay, so at least that wasn't totally off.
Aaron Gordon was also drafted in 2014 in the same
3 years.
Andrew Wiggins.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, 3 years after.
He was right behind Joel Embiid at the third pick.
That's crazy. I just put that together. I mean, think about it. Aaron Gordon is really who Derek Williams could have been, at some point, but that's off another tangent. But Denver Nuggets.
It's a heck of a 3-headed snake in Denver.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no question about it. They've been looking good. They're another team that, it'll be good to see what they do in the regular season, but that's another team that is expected to do big things in the playoffs. So we'll see if they can get on a nice roll here to begin the season. Nick, where do you want to go to next in the league?
I'm thinking Southeast. Let's fly down to Atlanta. Are the Hawks for real or frauds? Because through 3 games, they haven't looked great. I mean, would they give up 138 to Toronto in the opener? Sheesh. I don't know. They have a really good roster. Like we all said on paper, they were top 3 or 4. And, we're only 3 games in, so I just want to know how you guys are feeling about them and taking the temperature on the Atlanta Hawks.
Defense is extremely disappointing because I thought this could have been possibly one of the best defensive teams just with their length and athleticism led by Dyson Daniels. But again, that opening night, it just tells you what it is, losing like that. And I don't know. I don't want to say we were a little too high on them because it is only 3 games. But they got to turn it around quick before a lot of people start losing faith in them.
Yeah, I mean yeah, there's no question they've been off to a very disappointing start, especially in the words of this podcast. I mean, I've been so high on them, throughout the offseason. I think they had the best offseason in the Eastern Conference, and there are definitely some worry, some reasons for concern here. I mean, that blowout loss to Toronto was definitely bad. They were about to lose to the Magic before they, picked up their defense and won that game late before losing to the Thunder. So I mean, you can make the case that right, like heading into these first 3 games of the season, Raptors, Magic, the Thunder, that this is right where they should be a 1-2 start. They could definitely be in this case. The thing that's worrisome is that Kristaps Porzingis has missed the last couple games with an illness. We don't know. I don't think has anything to do with what happened last year with the Celtics. He is going to return tonight as we're recording. They're going to play the Bulls tonight to start off a 4-game road trip, all
Ooh,
against
there's a
Eastern
good
Conference teams.
the undefeated Bulls versus the struggling Hawks.
Right, yeah. So that's the thing. If they lose to the Bulls tonight, that's even though the Bulls have been playing very well, I think that's going to be a point of concern there. But overall, I'm not too worried, especially if you're an Eastern Conference team. Like we'll probably talk about the Orlando Magic coming up next because they're a team that is in quite literally the same exact position as the Hawks. There's enough time, I think, in this Eastern Conference to make up enough ground. Like right now, again, the 2-0 teams are the Bulls and the Sixers, and you have the Hornets at 2-1.
And the Hornets have been playing great.
Yeah, but you know what I mean. There's going to be plenty of time for these teams at the bottom to pick things up. Again, it's only 3 games. Like it's just because it's the beginning of the season that like we're kind of making a point of this now. But like they could go on a 1-2 stretch during any point of the season, and we wouldn't make a big deal out of it.
I mean, the question is everybody just going to attack Trae Young? Because, I mean, they have to be healthy, one. Jalen Johnson and KP haven't had the best histories. So if they're not out there, it doesn't really matter because they won't be able to cover up Trae at all. But, I mean, they have Daniels. They have Nickeil Alexander-Walker, who they got. They got, Jalen's a good defender, and KP is at times a pretty solid, very, very solid, good rim protector and whatnot. But the question is our team just going to expose Trae on a level that they can't cover, that they can't have what they do as their identity be like a trump card to them attacking Trae and like having that be their main weakness, sort of, so to speak.
And I think the answer is like if 2 of their key guys are out, because Reece Sachet is another guy that's been injured as well. If they're going to have 2 of the guys out, then yeah, because most teams aren't built to like have 2 key pieces out injured. Like their team is built around having defenders around Trae Young at all times, and if 2 of those key guys are out, then of course it's going to be easier for them to expose them. But when they're like again, we have yet to see this team fully healthy, and of course that's the biggest question with the Hawks, going forward this season. But Ben, shifting over in this division to the Orlando Magic, who are also 1-2. What have been your thoughts on their start to the season? They started it off with a nice comeback win against Miami before losing back-to-back to the Atlanta Hawks and then to the Bulls.
Yeah, it's early in the year. I think overall the Magic are a good team, but what I've seen out of them so far, they seem inconsistent offensively to start the year. They do look good defensively, I would say, which doesn't surprise me. I think they can keep up being good defensively. They have good, lengthy defensive players on that team, but of course they got Desmond Bain in there now. I think they're trying to figure out the chemistry with him now with stuff. And Desmond Bain's been solid for them so far, but not like great. And Franz, I would say, has gotten off to the best start out of any player in the Magic. He's scored the ball pretty well so far this year. Shooting hasn't been too bad, but the 3-point shot, he's still working on that. And the same thing is for the Hawks. They've been kind of up and down for the first 3 games too, like the Magic. But they have new players too. I think both of these teams will hopefully figure it out and turn things around in time, like Miles said, since they're in the Eastern Conference.
Yeah, I mean, I think the thing that's kind of worrying about this is about their start is the fact that they have gotten a lifeline from the schedule makers, that they've gotten to start their first 3 games all at home, and that they're 1-2 to start off with. Losing some games that they probably shouldn't have. I mean, they were in danger of losing to the Heat in what was a high-scoring game in that one where their offense looked really good. But it, went to an absolute standstill in their losses to the Hawks and the Bulls. And Paolo Banchero, I mean, his start has been very, very worrisome. I mean, he's averaging 20 points per game, shooting 34% from the field, 17% from three. And in the Hawks game, he really was struggling from the field, and they had a chance to tie or take the lead when both Franz and Desmond Bane were having better games. And Paolo had the ball with 10 seconds on the clock and took a fading 28-foot three-pointer for the lead. I don't know if you guys saw that, to give them the lead, and it was way short. It was just a horrible offensive possession, and it's very worrisome. I mean, through 3 games, they still have the worst offense in the league, and as a team, they're shooting 28% from three. It's not a good start.
Are you sure it wasn't Paolo Banchero taking that 28 fader?
It's literally it honestly is what it looked like. It looked like that was a shot that LaMelo would take. So yeah, they're another team that I'm not. It's just like the Hawks. They, like Ben said, they have time because they're in the Eastern Conference, but at the same time, those are problems that have been, we talked about on this podcast previewing them. Like, yeah, you bring in Desmond Bane. Does one guy fix the offense, or fix the 3-point shooting? Right now, it hasn't, and it doesn't help when your best player is in a huge, big-time shooting slump from the field.
Yeah, for sure. When we talked about the Hawks, them being 1-2 through the first 3 games, we looked at that. You can look at that schedule and be like, oh, it kind of makes sense, but didn't expect them to lose to the Raptors. The Orlando Magic, you see in their first 3 games, man, going into the season, I would have predicted them to be 3-0, to be honest.
Yeah, 98 points versus the Bulls is not good.
That's horrible.
And you're saying they had a shot to win the Hawks game. I mean, their offense hasn't been terrible in the other 2. So.
Hey, through 2 games, the Bulls have the number 1 rated defense in basketball. Oh my gosh. This is why stats during the first 2 to 3 games, you can't really tell much because the Bulls have that's the thing. They have the 4th worst offensive rating and the number 1 defense. When I think of this Bulls team, I think of a fast-paced offense that isn't able to stop teams. So, it's completely backwards to start the season. So I think that'll come back to earth slowly but surely. But shout out to the Bulls for their hot start to the season. So the other teams in this division, the Hornets at 2-1. Joe, you want to talk about the Hornets?
Charlotte has been playing fantastic. Specifically, last night as we're recording this, they played the Washington Wizards and just dominated. And
that's a huge matchup right there. The Hornets versus the Wizards. I mean,
prime
time, get your popcorn.
Well, LaMelo Ball, man. What was it? What did he have? 38, 13, and 13.
Yeah, he went crazy.
Come on. Doesn't matter if that's against the Wizards or anybody. Like, that's a great stat line. And I think I saw that Brandon Miller played barely anything because he got hurt.
Correct.
So, yeah, it's very, very good to see them just starting off great. Con Knipple had a really good game. Everyone's starting to click a little bit.
Joey, did you want to give TJ Salon another shout out? Because that was a thing he did last week. I was wondering if that was going to be a recurring thing.
What this stats right here? He had 1 shot and it was a 3 and he made it. And he only had 4 points, but 4, 6, and 7, and was a plus 22 when he was out there. So, based off of stats, it's looking like he's doing pretty well.
All right.
Hornets have been off to a solid start. I feel like maybe one of the shocking storylines so far, maybe the most shocking one from that division, has actually been the Miami Heat at 2-1, who, Ben, so far through 3 games, have been one of the most fun teams to watch in the league. I mean, who would have thought with this iteration of the team after their horrible sixth? Did you call them fun to watch? I don't know about that one.
Well, Tyler Hero's always fun to watch.
And he's not playing. But Ben, yeah, the Heat have just been super fun to watch. They've been getting out in transition. They gave the Knicks their first loss of the season yesterday. What have you seen so far from Miami?
I really like the way Miami seems focused to start the year. They seem hungry to try and bounce back this year after a down year, a distracted year last year with all that went on. And Coach Bogue seems to be having these guys play the Heat culture, hustle. They seem to be hustling hard. I like to see that the Heat are still locked in on that once again. And Norman Powell's been scoring it pretty well to start the year. So far, he's looking like a great addition. I mean, for the first few games so far, it seems like one of the top off-season additions that the Heat made, just trading for the guy. And Bam's looking good. He's getting off to a better start this year than last year. Happy with Bam, the way he's played on both ends, and he's especially along Norman Powell, got to keep stepping it up, especially with the scoring with no Tyler Hero for a while to start the year. And getting some good contribution for Davion Mitchell. I like the way he hustles and plays. He fits that Heat culture. I think he's been a pretty good addition for them since they've got that guy. And that was impressive. They were able to beat the Knicks Sunday night. You should be really encouraged that early on they've already been able to beat one of the better teams in the league at home. So they should be feeling good right now.
Yeah, absolutely. We've spent a lot of time talking about Eastern Conference teams. Let's shift over to the Western Conference a little bit and give the Western Conference a little bit of love here. Nick, why don't you get us started? What's another Western Conference team that you want to talk about?
Let's go to the King. Actually, no. Hang on. I have Dallas. I do have Dallas. I was wondering, if you guys think they might have to go in a different direction by the end of the year here. I mean, there's a world where Kyrie doesn't come back and their offense isn't good enough with D'Lo or not, or with Cooper Flag at the helm or not, to even, win enough games to make a push for the play-in lane there or not. It might just be worth it to tank and get a really good draft pick and a really good draft class to pair with Cooper Flag instead, and maybe move in that direction. I really don't know what that would look like, to be honest, but it was just a thought I had.
Yeah, so far the Mavericks, they're another team that's been given the ultimate lifeline to start their season, getting their first 5 games at home to start the season. And so far 1-2 after weird weekend where they lose to the Wizards and then beat the Raptors. And now they play against OKC tonight and then the Pacers on Wednesday. Joey, what are your thoughts on what you've seen from the Mavericks and Cooper Flag and that big lineup they've been playing so far?
Cooper Flag, it seems like he's starting to get a little bit of a rhythm. I obviously saw the giant poster in those beautiful green Dallas Mavericks jerseys the other day, but I'm kind of with it. I don't know what they do if they don't have Kyrie, because I don't think D'Lo's the answer. I don't think Cooper Flag is the answer at point guard to getting this offense in a groove. Like, they got all the talent in the world, they're just not putting it together and have no kind of. It's really hard to see a cohesive unit on trying to make an offense, just making it work. I don't know. It's not working out how you think it would be. Obviously, the embarrassing opening night against the Spurs was a rough watch, but you can at least get over that just because it's the first opening night game. Cooper Flag, everyone having jitters, who knows? But they got to put something together, because I would not be opposed at them going all in on a total rebuild, like Nick said, and going in that direction, trying to build for someone with Cooper Flag instead of adding to Kyrie and AD.
Ben, what do you think about the Mavericks and their start to the season?
I think the Mavericks are in a complicated situation right now, and I am concerned about things offensively still for them, even though things did look better, more rhythm against the Toronto Raptors. They put up 139 points in that game, so that was a better side. And D'Lo, I have a fantasy, he scored the ball pretty good in that game. They were playing him some more. To me, that seemed to help, at least in
Yeah.
that game. And then Cooper Flag got his rhythm going more against the Raptors. He had 20 plus points in that game, had crazy poster dunk, I believe, in that game. And AD also scored 20 plus, same with D'Lo. So scored they had figured out better against the Raptors, but it was just one game. I still technically worry about their point guard play until Kyrie comes back. I think D'Lo's a solid option until Kyrie comes back, but he isn't the best. I would say he's more so like a backup six man kind of like point guard, but he's just having to fill in and start for now. And I worry about their shooting too. They don't seem to have many great shooters on that team. They have Clay Thompson who could, you know, try and be a shooter, but I don't think he's a great shooter anymore. I don't think he's what he used to be on the Warriors with his shooting. So I worry about that going forward too. But maybe they'll figure things out. I don't think they should panic yet with the whole AD and Kyrie thing, but things don't really get better going forward. It could be a good idea to potentially look to do a rebuild.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's still a little too early to tell with Dallas. I mean, it's the type of team where, they could be off to, this weird start to the season. And then, they play the Thunder tonight. They could beat the Thunder in my prediction.
Exactly.
I have them beating the Thunder as like a hot take for where I'm predicting every game. Because in years past, the Thunder have struggled with huge, big lineups in the paint, and the Mavericks have that. So they could beat the Thunder, and we could be like, wow, the Mavericks could really be something. So,
Right.
they might be another one of those teams that are just like on and off. You don't know what you're going to get on a night-to-night basis because they're having Cooper Flag start at the point guard spot, which I think they're going to keep doing after seeing that it can work against a pesky Raptors team getting the win on Sunday. But yeah, definitely an interesting start there for the Dallas Mavericks. There's no question.
They do
Moving
literally
on,
have a chance to turn their whole season around tonight.
right. Why don't we go to the Houston Rockets next, who are one of 5 teams that have yet to get a win, owing to the double overtime loss opening night to the Thunder and then losing to the Detroit Pistons at home in their home opener on Friday. Ben, what has been your thoughts on the Rockets and seeing their first couple games, of course, with Kevin Durant, there in Houston?
So the Rockets, I think, will turn things around. I think tonight they have a good shot at their first win. They play the Brooklyn Nets. If they lose
Yeah.
that one, well, that would be embarrassing, but they should be able to hopefully win it. And, I think he could take some time to figuring things out. Kevin Durant on their team, and Durant's looked good for them so far with scoring. He's scored a good amount of points, not like tons so far. But Sengun, he had that one amazing game against the Thunder. Speaking of great performances, and he played good against the Pistons. Scoring was a bit down for the Thunder game in that game, but yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see if Sengun does more of his dominant performances like he did against the Thunder. Now they're gonna have things figured out going forward. Seems like to me that the Rockets are trying to do some experimenting now. Like they lost, Fred VanVleet too in training camp. That was tough. So I was figuring after that injury, they're gonna have to experiment, especially at the point guard position. It's kind of tough there to start the year. They're obviously having to start Amen Thompson there at point guard. He's trying to get used to that. If Reed Shepard's coming off the bench, he's having to play more. But what I do like with Amen Thompson, the point guard, is you're gonna get great defense out of him there. You'll get good passing from Ben, like I've seen so far. And the shooting's kind of a concern with me for the Rockets so far, but I think they could get better there. Like other teams early in the season, I think the Rockets are a great team. We lost to some good teams to start the year, and we'll figure things out.
Yeah, so you mentioned injuries there. Let's go there next because we do have a couple of key injuries to key Western Conference teams that we got to talk about here. It was announced in the last couple days that Luka Doncic for the Lakers is going to be out for at least a week with both a lower left leg contusion and then something else. I also believe a left arm or shoulder finger sprain. Okay, someone with a hand. So he's out for at least a week with 2 injuries. And then Minnesota announced that Anthony Edwards is going to be out for at least 2 weeks with a strained hamstring that he hurt in the Pacers-Timberwolves game on Sunday. So, Joey, let's start off with the Lakers one. Of course, we already saw in one night of action without Luka, and, of course, LeBron's still out, that Austin Reeves can carry the load there, so going for nearly a 50-point triple-double. Ayton played great. Rui Hachimura played great. Is this something that can be sustainable? Can the Lakers hold fort here without Luka and or LeBron in the lineup for, at least the next week or so?
Well, I'm going to take a look at their schedule real quick and tell you if it's a possibility because that's really what it's dependent on.
What are you trying to say about the Sacramento Kings, Joey?
Sacramento Kings don't play defense, and that was very, very relevant in that game. But I wouldn't put too much stock in that.
I was just trying to understand your logic.
I don't know. I'm severely depressed that Luke is out for a week because I'm playing our good buddy Jackson Goglin in fantasy, and I have Luka Doncic as my top player. So I'm not doing so hot. But for them as a team, it was a great performance by Reeves, but I don't know if they can keep that. Having DeAndre Ayton play consistently well like that for a week stretch, I feel like that's a tall order. I feel like getting him at least one every 3 or 4 games is a good bar to have for him, but we'll see.
What do you have, 2014?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think he can do it. I'm a non-believer in the Lakers personally, but
they only have a couple. I mean, they have other injuries too, don't they? Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent,
obviously Bron.
Jackson Hayes, Gabe Vincent got hurt in the game as well. I mean, I think this is something that is very interesting to watch for, Ben, because as we've talked about with the Lakers, I mean, none of us are really that high on them because we've been talking about how, look, the starting lineup doesn't really fit together. There isn't a whole lot of defense in the starting lineup, and all the guys in the starting lineup want the ball. But what's interesting about this situation is that if Luka and LeBron are out, those other guys have a chance to get the ball and more defenders get into the starting lineup. Like in this game, Reeves gets the ball more. Ayton's able to have the ball in the post. Rui knows that he's going to have some, opportunities to score more than if he's just a spot-up shooter with those other guys. And you throw in Gabe Vincent and Marcus Smart, 2, defensive players that can help things out. Do you think that there's a world where it actually works out better for the Lakers because they have a lineup on the floor that actually fits together on both ends of the floor, and their guys actually get the ball in their hands like Ayton and Reeves?
Well, I don't think that makes them better still, but I was pretty impressed with what they did against the Kings. I thought the Kings were going to beat the Lakers in that game, but boy, I was wrong. I didn't think Austin Reeves would go off for 51 points. Austin Reeves had the best game of his life in that game. That was amazing from him. And DeAndre Ayton impressed me too. I've been doubting him, but I was proud of him for stepping up and scoring 22 points in that game to go along with pretty good scoring for the Lakers and himself one of the better games he's had in a while. And really was scoring 18 points. So it's definitely interesting that those guys, were finally stepping it up even more without Luca and LeBron. They obviously knew they had to, but it's just interesting that like before even Luca and LeBron was on the court, that they still couldn't really score as much. And yeah, they're still kind of around the same. Could even play kind of better defensively, even without LeBron and Luca, because these guys are more so just scorers, not the best defenders now. So yeah, that kind of goes in their favor too. So yeah, I think it's going to be pretty tough. The Lakers, got lucky with that win over the Kings, I think, but who knows? We'll see.
Nick, what do you think? I mean, again, it is kind of an odd situation, but like kind of Ben and I have outlined here. I mean, those other guys, I mean, they played better. It feels like they're more engaged when they get the ball more when
Yeah.
Luka and LeBron are out of specifically Ayton, because he gets the ball a lot more in the
Right.
post.
I think in the long run it'll be really good for them to play without these two guys for a little while and get some not just confidence going, but to get some gel so that I mean LeBron and Luka are world top basketball players. Like they can fit in. They're not going to be the ones who are holding the team back. Like I think it's going to be a good thing in the long run. Just this little spurt, especially for Austin Reeves' pockets next year when he's a free agent. And if either of these two go down again for any type of extended length or together again, God forbid, Los Angeles would this guy. There goes Joey. This guy would be falling. But I think what Joey said, ironically, he just left, is this is true. The schedule is going to be very important. Whether or not in like this little run here they can win, they can keep winning games because not everybody's going to play defense like the Kings.
Yeah, and looking at their upcoming schedule, I mean, tonight as we're recording, coming off of that Kings game on Sunday, back to back, they play at home against the Portland Trailblazers, who. Look, I mean, they've had, of course, the Chauncey Billups situation has been tough on that team, but they are not a team that you want to see on the second night of a back-to-back, even though they played last night as well. They're not a team that you want to play, the Portland Trailblazers, especially coming off a night where, the Reeves had to carry the load so much, and now he's going to go up against, instead of Keon Ellis and Zach LaVine and, Russell Westbrook, he's going to go against Drew Holiday, Tamani Kamara, Shaden Sharp, Denny. I don't know if that's going to be the best situation. Then they play at Minnesota without Anthony Edwards, at Memphis, at home against Miami, at Portland again, and then that's another week. So that's their next 5 games: Portland twice, Minnesota, Memphis, and at home against Miami.
They might be able to come through it pretty unscathed. Maybe only like a loss or 2. It should be a decent week even without Luka.
Yeah, definitely could be possible. But on the other hand, the other injury is the Anthony Edwards injury. Of course, again, that happened on Sunday against the Pacers in the Timberwolves home opener, which included those gorgeous black jerseys with the pine tree trimming. Incredible for the Timberwolves as they defeated the Pacers for their 10th straight home opener win. There's a stat for you. They've won 10 of those in a row. Joey, what do you think the Timberwolves can do in this situation with Edwards out for the next couple of weeks? I mean, Edwards, he's been off to another incredible start this season.
Yeah, he is truly phenomenal. I'm a big Ant fan, and it's going to be rough for a couple weeks, I think, with Minnesota with him out because the other guys are going to have to step up. Julius Randle's going to have to step it up even more. Rudy Gobert, Terrence Shannon, Mike Conley, just everybody. Everybody's going to have to do something. DiVincenzo, everyone's going to have to do double the amount if they're going to be able to at least hang around with Ant out. But I don't know. we already had our issues with Minnesota and our predictions and but outside of Ant and maybe a couple other guys if they step up, I don't know. What do you guys think? Who do you think might step up? Because I truly don't know.
Well, Julius Randle's gonna have to keep playing the way he's been playing to start the season. He has been awesome. Like, it's crazy the type of turnaround he's had. He's gone from one of my least favorite players to watch in all of basketball when he was, just an isolation player with the New York Knicks to now he's one of the guys I really like watching the most because he has learned how to pick his spots really well. I mean, through 3 games, he's averaging 25 points, 7 rebounds, and 6 assists, shooting very efficient from the field. So if the Timberwolves are going to keep this up, he's going to have to keep performing at this type of level. He's been off to an incredible start. But yeah, some of those other role players are certainly going to have to answer the bell.
Yeah, I would say like Nas and Dante are probably the 2 most likely guys to hit a big scoring night.
What about our boy Terrence Shannon?
I want to see Joan Berenger.
Oh yeah, Johan Berenger. Now that we've gotten into the season, now I've got some of these pronunciations down. Johan Berenger, I think, is going to be a good backup center for them. He played well in the limited minutes at the end of that Lakers game in garbage time. But yeah, Ben, definitely going to be offense by committee here with Edwards out. But how do you think that Julius Randle is going to be able to lead this team? I mean, since he's been with Minnesota, of course, Ant has been the main guy. He's been very durable, so we haven't had to see Randle as the number 1 guy there. If he's going to be a number 1 guy in this situation like he was with New York, are we going to see him go back to kind of those old ways where he knows that, all right, I've got to chuck up some of these shots at the end of the shot clock, and he reverts back to his Knicks version? Or do you think that he'll keep up that nice balance of shooting good shots and finding his teammates?
That's a good question. I don't think he'll keep up with what he's doing because that's just seeming like what he's tended to do on the Timberwolves, even in the lineup. And that's the way I hope he keeps playing. I think it's been a smooth way of playing basketball for him. He's been finding ways to get off better shots off of that, for what I've seen. He can hopefully keep getting off good quality looks, and he can make some good passes too. So hopefully he can keep making good passes. It's the number 1 option for now to his guys and get them involved, going and stepping up. And yeah, that'll take some adjusting for the Timberwolves. They'll amp, but I mean, they're still a decent team without Ed. And it's not too long, at least, that they lost Ed. So I think even in a tough West, they can still win some games and hang in there all right, but we'll have to see.
Yeah, absolutely. Final thing before we get out of here. Of course, we have the 4 teams that are still undefeated and the 5 teams that are without a win so far. Let's go through both sides and figure out who's going to be the last team to lose their first game and the last team to win their first game. So let's start off on the bottom side. We've got 5 teams yet to win a game, with the Rockets and the Pelicans in the Western Conference, and then the Nets, the Pacers, and the Celtics in the Eastern Conference. Looking at the Celtics schedule, they play at New Orleans tonight, actually, as we're recording. So one of those 2 teams is going to get off the schneid. Then the Celtics play at home against the Cavs, at Philadelphia, at home against Houston, and then against Utah next Monday at home. For Brooklyn, they play at Houston tonight before going home for 3 against Atlanta, Philadelphia, and Minnesota, then at Indiana, which would be next Wednesday. Rockets, of course, play the Brooklyn Nets, and then the Pelicans play the Celtics tonight, then on the road for a whole bunch of games. Which team do you think will be the last one to get their first win?
I would have to go off the bat and say Brooklyn. They're just the worst team in it. And if they got Houston, and I think you said like Philly was in there, Atlanta, like it wasn't the worst of the worst. Like I didn't hear Charlotte or or Washington or New Orleans for them. So I would have to say Brooklyn because I mean Cam Thomas and MPJ can get you pretty far. But I mean, they can put up 40 a night, but I mean that's only 2/3 of what you need. So they don't really. I don't know. I would pick the Nets.
I would also pick the Nets. If Cam Thomas's 40 points and 0 assists can't get you a win, I don't know what can. So I'm going to go Brooklyn as well.
Ben, how about you?
It's hard not to pick against Brooklyn. I'm going to give them 2. Yeah, they're just not very good. They have a bunch of young guys, a good amount of rookies, and like Cam Thomas, scored it pretty well against the Spurs. Doesn't really get assists. See with Michael Porter Jr. They're just takey. They're bad. It's hard for them to get other guys involved and get ball movement going. It is what it is with them.
Yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn
Well
basketball. Well said. Brooklyn Nets just a bad team. But no, Cam Thomas and Michael Porter. It has been insanely fun to watch them go off in these games and just take these ridiculous shots and still knock them down half the time. Yeah, that is all tough buckets. It is so fun to watch those two play. On the opposite side of the coin, we've got 4 teams that are undefeated still with the Bulls, the 76ers, the Spurs, and the Thunder, which will be the last team to stay undefeated. The Bulls have a 3-game homestand against the Hawks, the Kings, and the Knicks. They're at New York, at home against Philly, then at Milwaukee, at Cleveland over the next couple of weeks. The Sixers play at home against the Magic tonight, then at Washington, home against Boston, then a 3-game road trip at Brooklyn, Chicago, and Cleveland. San Antonio, like we said, not a whole lot of tough opponents coming up here until they play Houston next Friday. Until then, they play the Raptors, the Heat, the Suns, and the Lakers. After that, they play the Pelicans, the Bulls, the Warriors a couple times. And then the Thunder at Dallas tonight as we're recording, at home against Sacramento, Washington, New Orleans, then at the Clippers, at Portland, at Sacramento, at Memphis. Who's going to be the last team to stay undefeated?
I'll start again. I'm going to go with the off the beaten path and say the Spurs because I do think OKC could lose tonight in Dallas. And if that's the case, then I'm gonna go with Ben's prediction of them being a top 5 seed and getting off to 8, 9, 10-0 start maybe, or double digit, something like that, and then just being able to ride the wave and not give up too much throughout the rest of the year.
I also think the Spurs, but you got it wrong. They're actually going to the Thunder are going to lose to the Kings the next game.
Oh, right.
Ben, how about you? What do you think?
Well, tricky question. I'll go the Thunder because, the Thunder. They played the Mavericks tonight. That's not going to be an easy game, but they win this game, it's going to be hard for them not to lose to Washington and New Orleans, who they're playing coming up, right, Miles?
Yes.
Yeah, and they could beat Washington, New Orleans,
And then J-Dub will be back, and then they're just
J-Dub's gonna get back too soon. Boy, they're gonna get scary. That's for sure when J-Dub comes back. And
they got the really second coming of Aaron Wiggins, or is that the guy who's been going? AJ Mitchell? My bad, AJ Mitchell.
And the Thunder,
AJ Mitchell.
champs. They know how to win. They're hard to beat, as we've seen.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Oklahoma City as well. The Spurs, even though they've been off to this good start and they do have some softies coming up in a little bit, they are still a young team with not much experience, so they could get over their heads a little bit and lose one of these games coming up here in a little bit. Would not be surprised by that at all. But either way, great start to the season. For all these teams, great to talk about all these different storylines and we're excited to see what happens over the next week here.
I got one question. Hopefully, it'll be really quick. Out of the new national TVs, now that we've seen all of them, who's your favorite? ESPN, Prime, or Peacock?
I'll go Peacock/NBC, by far my favorite. So far. Well, I have multiple answers with this. The Peacock/NBC is my favorite presentation on the court as far as score bugs and effects and all that stuff. My favorite analysis crew right now is Prime with Dirk, Steve Nash, Udonis Haslem. Great. But then my favorite, announcing crew, it's still, I'm always going to be a Mike Breen fan, ride or die. So there are bits and pieces to each that I love so much. But as far as presentation goes, it's got to be Peacock or NBC. I saw a tweet. I don't know who posted this on X, but I thought it summed it up perfectly. It feels like Peacock and NBC and Prime are broadcasting these games because they want to. ESPN is doing it because they have to. And that's kind of the feeling that I'm getting with all these so far. You really feel like Prime and Peacock are trying to put on the best basketball presentation possible for the viewer, and it comes across really, really well.
I think they're probably making a lot of money from it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. But
Good question, though, Joey, and I totally agree, yeah. It's been fun to see the different stuff.
I agree. I'm really liking the Peacock as just watching it as the basketball, but the halftime and after game analysis, the Prime crew is very, very fun to watch.
Yeah. Yeah, it's been a terrific start to the season here. Unfortunately, we will not be back on the podcast for another week here. I'm going to Iowa later in the week to cover a college basketball game, so excited for that. But hopefully we have a lot of other.
Sorry, good luck, Marv.
Thank you, sir. It should be a lot of fun. But yeah, hopefully we have a lot of fun stuff coming up this next week here to talk about. So you guys have anything else before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
Good luck, Marv.
Good luck, Marv.
Thanks. All right. Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, leave a like, subscribe for more NBA content. Hope you have a great rest of your day, and we will catch you in the next one.
Peace.
Peace.